What is up, guys? Wraith here, Gray Bearded Gaming. We are back on our P99-9Lives challenge toon here, little Trafton, and at the moment we're heading back out from Caledon, but trying to kind of make some decisions as well about the randoms, challenge in and of itself, trying to make sure that on top of it being the challenge that it is that we don't forego doing anything else, obviously, in the game and sit there and hoard on greens and blues all the time and never challenge ourselves just to try to keep it safe. And I realized when doing kind of the last episode, well, why that spot worked pretty good for us and that we were able to safely kill and we weren't really competing for mobs, and that part was pretty handy. It's, also not very common, I guess, in this level range to do that kind of stuff. So we definitely need to adventure out a little more, press our luck at least slightly to see, kind of what's going on. So on that vein, we're currently busy chasing around this stupid chicken who does not want to seem to die. But on that vein, we are going to do a little bit of branching out this evening, a little bit of exploring. Like I mentioned in the last episode, I'd kind of touched on the idea of, maybe trying to avoid some of the busier spots, like the Orc Hill or Crushbone or something like that. But let's face it, it's kind of boring to do that, and you're missing out on so much of the game. And any normal character, any normal decision, you're generally going to do that, right? And obviously, I know in some cases, I watch a couple of other creators, and there's a lot of guys out there who just really, really love to solo all the time, and that's awesome. I have my own toons that I do that with, but this toon's really not meant to necessarily be that way, where we're always going to hide off in the corner by ourselves. So we definitely need to push it just a little bit, if for no other reason than to kind of keep it interesting. So what we're going to do is we are going to work our way over, I believe, to Caledon, put ourselves somewhat closer to some orc action, and kind of see where it goes from there. Now, one of the reasons, well, the other reasons I've kind of decided to do this is, aside from kind of wearing out our little lane that we were working on over here, we did manage to pick up, we're level 6 and not quite 60%, we'll say a little over halfway, to getting there. We've done a pretty good job. The problem that we've run into, of course, is our little corridor now. Pretty much everything is going to be greened out. We cannot handle the scarabs. They are just too big. These guys, even the yellow ones, I said we tried them. They're kind of working us over. We cannot handle these goblin camps. There's too many of them. And even if we get one that has some of the smaller goblins in it, if a wizard spawns on us, we're done for. If I'm not, and I could be mistaken, everyone that I have seen so far, when even kind of eyeballing those camps to judge if it was going to be worth doing, they've all been just a bright color of red to us, which is going to give us, some serious problems. So we're going to go exploring a little bit. Obviously some of the other things in the zone, aside from the goblin camps, like I know there is the bandit camp, but those guys are about the same size as the goblins, plus there's a pack of them, so trying to go with that solo would probably be a bad idea. And I do not believe we're big enough for the chessboard. I think for some chessboard action, we need to be probably closer to the 9 or 10 range, I do believe, to safely handle those, especially on our own. So we're going to set off a course for adventure. Hope we can find ourselves a little bind over near the elves and see where we go from there. So we will check back in with you guys here in a few minutes. Alright guys, we have arrived outside of Caledon. We have also done the very intelligent thing of right out of the gate, we found somebody on the way over, a very nice wood elf who was willing to bind us and give us a sow. I wish we could have gotten one of those on the way over here because the run took forever. Stubby dwarf legs, what are you going to do? But we are bound to the area, to the newbie lift at Caledon. We have a sow. So at least we have the makings of getting brave. So normally what most people do, of course, is to get about to my level and a chunk over the hill right here and see what they can get into, kind of action we can get into over here on the Orc Hill. Now, last couple times I've been around here, it's been, oh, there's an orc already. And he's only blue, so we might be able to stand our ground. But there's been a ton of people over here. The last couple times been over here, and as you can see, much like a lot of the other places that we've been, little dead bodies on the ground. So again, we'll try to be careful, but we do want it to be an adventure. We want it to be fun. We don't necessarily want to sit here and spend 3 years killing orc pawns. But one of the other things that we've also kind of figured out is that Kellethan will be a slightly more active area around Kellethan and Felwith most likely than what we're going to see probably right outside of Butcher Block. So we'll see a little bit more as far as some of the sales action, if you will. And then, of course, one of the other things about working on some of these orcs over here and working on the area is you might be able to get some of the belts, some of the shoulder pads that you see right out of the gate. Here's somebody in the area, trying to buy these things. So, no such luck, but at least we're in the right neighborhood. And, we do have a little group up here working on some dwarf action. It looks like a couple of groups, actually. So the spot's probably going to be a little bit busy. We'll kind of have to see what's going on. We'll kind of get a lay of the land and see what folks are doing. And then, of course, if we get ridiculously brave, for that matter, we can charge over there now, assuming we can get in. Of course, we're right at the door to Crushbone, so there's an entrance group right here already. And there's most likely people running around inside killing off the strays. But we will take a peek anyway, just so we can say that at least we didn't run all this way for nothing. Now, of course, the big things we'll have to watch out for in here, of course, will be the ever famous train to zone call. We'll need to make sure we got out the way. We'll get a little brave right now, simply because we do have the Spirit of the Wolf action going on. But we'll see how far that gets us, because we're not gonna stretch it too much. We'll try to pick off an orc here and an orc there, and not make it too big of a nuisance of ourselves. Of course, this area has been totally packed. Let's take a peek. There are 32 people currently in this zone, and this is not that big of a zone, so that is a handful of people packing in here. And it's not even as bad as it has been. Like I said, I have checked out the zone on some of my other characters and seen upwards of 40 people in here doing random things. So we will very cautiously pick off some stuff here and there, kind of see, can we get some easy kills in without getting in anybody's way or without catching any trains. And at the same time, of course, if we get lucky and get any of the belts. The XP mod in here is very high, which is always a bonus. But of course, with so many people kind of camping all over the place as well, it will be pretty hard to get free pickings off. But we'll see what we can do. We will check back in, see a little bit later. So I don't want everybody necessarily watch around as I explore, just to kind of see what we can get into. But we might poke around a little bit, pick off some strays, and then at the same time, if a group opportunity does provide itself, we might check that out just to kind of keep things moving so we don't stall out too bad, like I said, at these low levels. But like I said, I think that's a pretty good spot, at least for a decent update. I'm hoping that all goes well, and we will check in with you guys probably in the next episode. Again, nothing too exciting in this one except for running across the world, and thankfully you didn't have to see any of that. But we're here, we're in Crushbone. We're going to decide to be, we'll be cautious, but we're still going to up the bravery scale a little bit, right? Nobody, again, I said it a couple times already, nobody wants to watch me bashing down greens that just barely give experience. That's really no fun and really not much of a challenge at all. So we're going to step up our game here a little bit. At the same time, one thing I did do already, even before we left, I got them in here somewhere, like, I'm getting stoked. At least we're level 6, only have a few more levels. I got my spells, and nothing's going to be groundbreaking early on, obviously, and we won't be able to even cast half of them because our casting skills are going to suck so bad. But we can get level 9, we can dash over really quick to, Felwith, do some paladin skills training, basically, and we can jump on with these guys here and, finally get some spells going, which I'm always looking forward to. Charge the Centurion. But I think on that, it'll be a pretty good spot to call it for the night. We will try to pick off the weak strays here by the front that we can easily manage by ourselves, keep an eye out for something else. But as always, guys, like I said, if you like what we're doing here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're working on the challenge yourself, if you decided to do something similar, hey, let us know, what you guys are working on. What kind of class combination did you come up with right out of the gate? What kind of interesting, exciting adventures or steps did you take to try to make sure that you didn't go splat too fast. But having said all of that, hope everybody had a good night. There's our first Crushbone belt. Hopefully that turns into some experience for us later. But that'll be a pretty good spot to call it. Hope everybody had a good time, and we will see you guys next time.